definition of P. Informal. Urinal.
See where we're at with all this. I had fun with him. So anyways, I hadn't heard from this character in about a year. He's crazy as fuck. His name is Craig Corbell. If you ever see him, avoid him like the plague. So at 4:09 p.m. today, he reached out to me after the last time he attacked me. This is what's the Bigfoot community and the Christian community both suck. Well, geez, about almost a year ago, March the 19th. So March the 11th, and he decided to go at me again. It says here, what the fuck are you promoting now, asswipe? This is a Christian. This is a guy who says he's a Christian. He's a follower of Jesus. You want to know why I'm warning people about Christianity? Why I'm promoting my friend Jeff and his stuff that he's doing on TikTok and his book, Jesus Demigod? Because of this. This has been constant for frickin' ever, and I don't think I know of a worse group of people than Christians. And this guy's a Christian, right? He says, once again, what the fuck are you promoting now, asswipe? No wonder why you only get a handful of views. Yeah, I do. I promote things and share things that make people very uncomfortable, like the truth, the real truth. You lost your fucking mind putting on a low-life, nonsensical fool that has had no experience with the miracles of God. That's my friend Jeff. Jeff for Truth. By the way, he's a Christian for 30 plus years and pursuing God for 46 years, his whole life, and had lived a more godly life than anything that Craig ever did. Although Craig now has a dog. So it's about time the old man finally found something to love. Okay, so now you can go down through your worthless life. This is a Christian, right? Just out of the blue. Doesn't even try to understand me. I think he did call me. Well, he called me at the end while I was taking a pee. And I was peeing. I wasn't going to go rush to, because I know it was him. If he wants to talk, he can talk. Anyways, we'll find out what his response was. So now you can go down through your worthless life, believe what you want, but I, for one, have had miracles in my life. Sure, an evil person like you, a rotten person like you, Craig, absolutely. The demiurge, the egregore, Jesus, this matrix is going to definitely bless a guy like you. Absolutely. In fact, if we don't want to bow down like some think, all we have to do is talk to him, and he is amazing. You know, I used to believe the same thing, but I got honest about stuff. I realized that whatever was communicating with me or blessing me or in my life, it was a facade. Because for every one little good thing that happened, a dozen terrible things happened. Christianity destroyed my family, destroyed my life, destroyed everyone's life that I know. That it's destroyed billions of people's lives. That you might be being blessed right now. Sure, the facade that it is. Yeah, absolutely. A worthless piece of crap like Craig, absolutely. Jesus has this affection for drug addicts and criminals and con artists and liars. He seems to really like those. He really, really likes them. Posting that shit means, okay, let me see. I have to say you're a perfect example of a devil-worshipping Christianity. Very twisted. I didn't spell that right. It's supposed to be Christian. Anyways, I do that all the time. Posting that shit means you will be coming back to try and get it right. I'm not. It's so stupid. I doubt it. I doubt it very much that being a blind slave to the demiurge and his obedient egregore servant, Jesus, right? He can't even get that right. They don't even understand that Jesus said over and over again, he's not God. He's the Son of God. So they keep on making him God. Because if you're a Christian, you have to be a liar. That guy is dark. He might know a bit about the Bible, but he's fucked up. I asked for miracles and I saw many. Sure you did, Craig. They always say the same thing. I asked for them too, and I didn't see any of them. And I doubt you are any more faithful and obedient. You see, here's the thing. Jeff was really a hardcore Christian, right? Prayed every day, did everything right. He never took drugs. He never, he was a faithful father. He a faithful husband. He did everything right, according to the book, and you know what? He realized after 46 years that it was bullshit, just like I figured out. I wasn't in the Christianity as long as him, but for the past 12 years, ever since all the crap that happened to me with the MS and all the crappy things that my son's mother did and everything to me and all that, and then raising a son by himself, I naturally went to Jesus, because what else did I have? So I knew that Christianity was corrupt, so I followed Jesus, right? You're talking about a guy who read the Bible all the way through. I'm talking about me now, not Craig. Craig never does anything. He never did anything, except be a dipshit. Twice all the way through I read the Bible, online, half a dozen times, the New Testament. And what the problem was, at the time I really believed it because I had nothing else to believe. But my sanity came back, and I started seeing contradictions throughout the whole Bible. And when it came time to when Jesus said he was going to come back in their generation, and that all the apostles thought the same thing, and I keep hearing every freaking day that Jesus is coming back tomorrow, over and over again from one Christian to another, I realized something. And I try to bring it up to Christians. And guess what? I realized real fast that they didn't want to know the truth. They lied for the truth. I assume you're talking about my friend Jeff. He left JC, that's Jesus, after me. Actually, I officially left when I burned the Bible back in May of last year, right? A couple months later is when he finally said, yeah, it was settled within his mind too. And the thing is, me and Jeff and a group of other people, we all studied on Discord and talked on TalkShoe about it, right? Because we were all preterists. We all got to the point where we realized that Jesus said he'd come back in their generation. So we seriously doubled down and studied on it, the Bible. And guess what? We all found one contradiction after another. The most shocking of all is that there's nothing in the New Testament that testifies to Jesus. And everything about Jesus contradicts the New Old Testament. And on it went. And to the point I just finally realized, and listening to people bicker and anger and how people behave, I realized the Bible's a book of black magic. It's evil. So I burned it. And the reason I'm putting that stuff up about pursuing God, knowing full well that it's going to offend people, is that one person might hear the truth and be set free from the lies that is called religion, especially the Abrahamic religions. All the religions are corrupt, but the Abrahamic religions are really friggin' evil. Christianity, Judaism, and Mohammedanism. Just evil. Oh my God, it's just nothing but, if there ever was evil. So anyways, somebody said this. You see, Meathead, that's what I call him, because that's what he is. Craig is one of these guys, he's my age, and he was a bodybuilder back in the 70s, or the 80s, was it? It was the 80s. Took a lot of steroids, right? He was going to be, the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think the steroids got to his head, you know what I mean? Kind of lost sanity. Very violent person. Very aggressive. Anyways, he himself can't be in a relationship because of his issues. But he did get a dog. So anyways, he left JC after me. You see, Meathead, we thoroughly studied the scriptures together, which you obviously never did. You have no clue what you're talking about. And you clearly are a hateful, judgmental, and vengeful coward hiding behind your imaginary demigod, Jeebus, or otherwise Jesus. Your opinion means nothing, zero to me. If anyone is coming back, it's going to be the likes of you. Go pound sand, moron. And he deserved it. And then this goes, not surprised he's a friend of yours. You average views, dumb shit. So what? Plus okay, I know that I'm not great at doing the YouTube thing anymore, but I used to have thousands until I stood up for people like him, like all of you, for 2 years, warning you about the global eugenics program that was going on, where the rest of you were running around and hiding and getting poked and wearing the face muzzle. Not all of you. There's certainly some of you that are listening to that are not of that group, but I stood up, and I wasn't just a keyboard warrior. I was out there in the middle of my town with signs and warning people and trying to talk to people and doing the magnetic test. I was there. I fought, and I discovered something. It was the beginning of the end of Christianity for me. That was actually the beginning of the end was I realized that Jesus said he's come back in his generation, and the dishonesty that I crossed the board just about until I found a small group of people on TikTok in 2022. They were willing to talk truth about it, right? It's just disgusting. It's just the whole thing. If Christianity was real, Jesus promised there'd be unity. Christianity is the most divided fucking thing there ever was. I heard from 45,000 to 48 1,000 denominations alone. And everyone says everyone else is doing it wrong. So his way of going at me is this. You average 8 views, dumb shit. 8 people that want to see what stupid ass comes up with next. Find a productive hobby. This is there's no greater hate than Christian love. I tell you, it's by far there's no greater hate than Christian love. And Craig's a perfect example of it. Okay, I will debate you any day if you're so bright. But first, you're going to have to learn how to read at a 5th grade level. 8 people is more than you will ever have. And all those steroids you took have shrunk your pea brain to a mustard seed. Okay, you are morally bankrupt. Okay, I'm morally bankrupt. Why am I morally bankrupt? What am I doing that's morally bankrupt? I'm not doing anything to anybody except sharing the truth. I'm not trying to exploit anybody. I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody. In my circumstances, I'm doing the best I can. I'm there. I'm a dad for my son all the time. Not just every other weekend and a Wednesday if it's convenient. I have him half the week. For 12 fucking years. 12 and a half years. Meanwhile, struggling with MS. And I have been struggling with it. And yes, I have tried to do jobs again. And the problem is with MS, it's hit and miss. One day I'm okay. The next day I'm flat on my fucking back. I can't help it. And all the nutrition stuff and all, listen, it would be great to eat. Like one time I was, going to be the poster child for combating MS through nutrition. Well, I don't know if you knew this, but it's extremely fucking expensive when you're on a limited budget to try to eat right, healthy, eat real organic food and meats or whatever it may be. People don't want to talk about that. They just want to just make you feel like you're a piece of shit if you end up having a hamburger in order to stay alive from fucking the local grocery store. Oh my God, you have no morals. Actually, you know what? I have plenty of morals. And I am in the situation that I am. So here it says, you are morally bankrupt, intelligently innate, and financially ruined. Well, yeah, I'm ruined because of the MS. You try to deal with it. A lot of people get MS. You see, the thing is, people compare others and say, well, I know someone who's working who has MS. Well, good. That's great. That doesn't do me. It doesn't do me any fucking good. There's a lot of us. You say, well, you could do something, No, I can't. I really can't. Just doing those interviews, I struggle through most of the time. Financially ruined. So this is the Christian love again. Like a kid got his lunch money stole. No idea what to do but cry. Really? I tell you guys about my circumstances. And once in a while I ask if anybody can help. It doesn't happen that often. I mean, the last 3 months, $10 was donated from Diesel. Thank you, Diesel, by the way. And and then JT and LT, they helped me out with the computer, and they helped me out. Well, in the past 3 months, they helped me out with the Filmora. So, and then we did some shows, and then all of a sudden we stopped. It's just weird. It's also weird. I hope we keep doing shows, but we have a different perspective on things. We discovered. So I think we're still friends. It's just have a different perspective on things. And I just, I'm going to push back and we get this too cultish about this stuff. So keep going, because I'm going to share it with my small world. Oh no, all 8 idiots like yourself. This is the, he reached out to me, attacking me first, right? Again. In the name of Jesus, right? You are helping me share with others what real Christians are. Thank you. JC, that's Jesus, should be so proud of you. I bet I bet having your friend on there lost 7 of your audience. So what? I don't care if I lose 100. If that one person wakes up to the realization of the deception that's called Christianity, it's worth it. It's never been about making money. It's all about telling the truth. So you know what? If people don't like the truth, what am I supposed to do? I mean, am I supposed to just do what everybody else does and hide? Oh my God, I can't. You know what I mean? Can't say this, can't say that. They'll take me down. Oh my God. Fuck it. Pretty soon you'll have 0. Okay, if I have 0, I have 0. At least I know I've tried the best to tell people the truth. And I'm making up for a mistake that I made. Because I pushed Christianity for a long time, years. 10 years almost. 8 years. Last year was probably the last time I attempted doing that. But I finally realized all this Christianity stuff, all it ever did is ruin my life and everybody else's life. There's that thin veneer, that illusion that things are better. Like a lot of people, they're on drugs, drug addicts and all that, and they claim that they get better because of Jesus. Well, they might use Jesus as a crutch, but if you're going to get sober, you're going to get sober because you want to get sober. It's a proven fact that those who get sober on their own actually have greater success than those who are in AA or try the steps in Christianity and all the other religions. Did you know that? It's a statistical fact. So, Jesus somehow cares more about scumbags, criminals, crooks like this guy, right, who had a really rough past and did some shitty things, right, than all those poor innocent children who are starving right now, or are in hospitals, dying, passing away and dying from and suffering from horrendous diseases. I watched my niece go through it, my little brother go through it. In fact, I had to go through it. Yeah, Jesus was never there. So, fuck your Jesus. If your Jesus is all that real, you guys are all that powerful in the name of Jesus, go to these hospitals and start healing people. It won't happen, will it? But that's what the promise is. Jesus said if you're a disciple of his, guess what? You're going to be able to heal all sorts of people. Did you know that? If you're not doing that, if all you're doing is just evangelizing, promoting a religion, and that's it, by the way, that's not what he asked you to do. You have a problem. And that problem is you're living a lie. He says, when's the last time you did illicit drugs? My guess, all the time. You are not the Lord of anything. Yeah, well, one thing I'm a Lord of is O.R.D. And that's a pun. By the way, that's a trigger for Christians, right? Because they don't like that. It's capital letters, O.R.D. That's why I do that. Lord of O.R.D. What is it? The Old Religious Dystopia. What is Old Religious Dystopia? It's my frickin' YouTube channels and my other channels. And actually, I do lord over it. It's the only thing I should probably do. But as far as illicit drugs, the only thing I do is occasionally, it's not even illicit, it's medical marijuana, which is legal, and it's not illicit. And it's prescribed from my neurologist. Why? For my MS. I don't use it every day. I've used it occasionally. Actually, just past 2 weeks, I've used it 4 times, and 3 times it was because of shows. So because of the pain right now, like pain is running through my body 24/7. It feels like 1,000 needles are being poked in me. My body's burning. It's the neurology. It's the webbing, the myelin sheaths, right? And so I have all these crazy things that happen to me. Don't ever get MS. You might want to stay away from the jibby jab. That's what happened to me back in 2009. Who cares what you think? At least I am honest. That's more than you can say, Mr. Christian liar. Mr. Christian, I followed Jesus. Look how I am such a good example of a follower of Jesus. I love it. Keep it up. Honesty? How? An honest man looks in his heart. Well, yeah, you got some kind of heart there, dude. Yeah, you got a really empathetic heart there. Wow, you're amazing. Your morality should be enough to guide you when you went off the rails. Well, first of all, I probably live a more moral life than he does. I probably live a more moral life than 90% of the people I've ever met or known. At least, and morals are very subjective in their own right. So some people have higher standards of morals than others. At this age, I have, because of circumstances and who I am and what I've learned, my morals are much different than I was as a young man. Now at 56, I have very high morals. I think about a lot of things, like getting a relationship with a woman. We should always probably end up be something hot, right? And you know what? It's for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring my chaos into their lives, and vice versa for that matter. And will I ever be in a relationship? Maybe, if I find someone who's can tolerate me, and vice versa. It might not happen. So in the meantime, I don't chase around chicks. I don't use a whore. I don't, playboy. I'm not looking at porno. I'm not obsessing about women, all that kind of stuff. I live a pretty moral life. As far as moral standards, at least for my morals, being a father to my son, being close to my son, to always be there for my son. In fact, I called my son tonight. He hasn't called back. I had to get used to that, him not calling back. And I haven't got used to that because that's who he is. That's his personality. But I'm sure I'll see him tomorrow. And I know I'll have him Wednesday, and I'll have him Friday, and I'll have him Saturday, and I'll have him Sunday. Meanwhile, Mr. Craig, he's nothing like that's ever going to happen. His highest achievement is he got himself a Chihuahua finally. Poor dog. So anyways, where else I know this? I'm sharing this not just to throw Mr. Craig Corbell under the bus, which he deserves to be thrown under the bus. It's also to expose the insanity that is called Christianity and all the crap that's ever happened to me over the years because of it. I don't want anything to do with it except to expose it for what it is, and to set anybody I can help encourage anybody to set themselves free from this thing, this curse, this black magic that's called Judo-Christianity, along with the Mohammedanism. The Abraham faiths are evil. I mean, geez, they are pure evil. So he said, I went off the rails. Let me ask, okay, where is all this shit? Where am I at with all this? Honestly, I came up with morals. I've already did that. I got more morals than he does. I know he does. I know I do. I mean, this guy, you know how he makes money? He goes looking for, like on Craigslist and stuff like that, for people when they're down and out to get a cheap deal, right? It's all business, right? Most of the time, those people in hardship, they probably have to move. They probably have some financial issues, so they end up selling something that's really expensive. A lot of times they're equipment for closing businesses, and so he's one of those pariahs that gets these things for dirt cheap, way below market value, and then sells it at market value and exploits people. Now, you might be one of those people who say, what's wrong with that? You think about it. If you don't have issues with that, you don't, and I don't have the same morals. Let me ask you, do you believe the same as your friend? He is an atheist. I believe there is a God. It's an evil God. That's what I believe it is. It's evil God, right? And there's evil archonic forces, and that we're in a soul trap matrix, and that we've all been screwed. And that my answer to what to do, because I don't know no one has the answer. So for me, what I'm saying, I'm not complying to this shit anymore. I'm not doing it. I love it. More confirmation that I made the right decision leaving JC behind. That's Jesus. Because I get nothing but shit from Christians, and they're awful. They don't even. It's like, it's not only that they're ignorant of what the scriptures say. I was one of those people too, until I seriously took it seriously and studied it and challenged it.
It's another thing. It's just like this us against them mentality, in which and this Christian persecution nonsense. When you finally realize as Christians and all the other religions, the Muslims just as bad, the Jews are just as bad. They're the ones persecuting everyone else. Some bullshit, make-believe shit. Oh, I see. Who will you call on when your ship is sinking? I guess I keep it going. Who? He says. It ain't going to be you or your fake God, that's for sure. In fact, when my ship is sinking, which has sunk many times, and he's probably talking about it's time to finally move on. In fact, will not. In fact, it will be no one or nothing. So what I'm saying there is I'm not calling on anybody. That's the last thing I'm going to do. I know a lot of people call on God and call on Jesus and all that kind of stuff. I ain't going to do that. I don't want to see that whatever that thing is called Jesus or God on the other side. And if I do, I'm going to give him my peace of mind about what he put billions upon billions of people through and didn't do a fucking thing about it. Except create an imperial cult called Christianity. And I'm making that up because I don't believe... There is some creative force, but this God thing, this great spirit, nobody knows what the fuck it is. It could be just a simple force. It's not a very good force, by the way. It seems to be very indifferent for everyone's suffering and pain. Now you might say, oh no, it helped me. It's done stuff for you. Well, why is it doing something for you but not everyone else? You know, the innocent children, I mean, and they'll say, well, that's because of what, their parents? Sins? No, you're not supposed to. It's against the Bible. You know, your children aren't supposed to pay for the sins of the father or vice versa. Did you know that? So that's bullshit. But then they've got the generational curses. Then it says, right? See, because the Bible can't make up its mind. The people that wrote the Bible couldn't make up their mind whether there's like 4 generations of a curse if you do the wrong thing and break the law of Moses or not. Or just can another man pay for the sins of another? Or, you know, can your children pay for the sins of your father? It's such horseshit. You lost, thought you said that your encounter brought you closer to God. It did. To the wrong God, the false God. That's what it did. I mean, I've shared since then, in the past year, that I now realize that calling on the name of Jesus when I had that really crazy encounter made things worse. It didn't make things better. It made things worse. And I'm discovering there's an awful lot of other people who had very similar experiences. So the thing is, what happened? Did it finally just dissipate? The poltergeist activity, the activity of this thing that looked like Bigfoot, in which my neighbor saw something similar to that 3 days later. You know, I mean, what the fuck was it? Who knows? It wasn't good. It was terrible. And it was the worst experience of my life. I've had some pretty bad experiences. And I called upon Christians, and guess what? I got bad advice all the way through. And I shared that bad advice on. Why do you think I'm sharing this thing, pursuing God, and being really critical about Christianity? It's not because it's bitter. It's because, holy fuck, I was wrong again. And I got to try to do the right thing. It's called making amends to people. So what do I got to do? My buddy, Jeff, is a million times better at this. He's quicker at it. He's been studying that Bible every day for fucking 30-some years. He's like an encyclopedia. So I told him, I said, when we're together, I said, Jeff, you're the chosen one. You're the one who has to do this. Because the rest of us, we're not capable of doing what... Jeff, he is like 500, 600, 700 people on the TikTok Live wanting to listen to him. I know what my limitations are. I'm never going to bring that kind of numbers. I'd be lucky to have 12 people. And it's been that way. Part of it is because I've been heavily censored because, like I said, I stood for you guys. My channel was taken down on the 6th of January 2021, along with hundreds of other small channels were standing up for we the people, right? And since then, we've been censored. Across the board, doesn't matter what platform it is. It's not just YouTube. BitChute's the same way. TikTok's the same. Twitter's the same way. Rumble's the same way. And why do some other people manage to still survive on Rumble and all that? It's because they're better at it, for one thing. It's nothing for me to feel guilty about. Whether I have 100 people, 6 people, or 1,000 people that follow me, I really don't have much control over any of that. A lot of it's personality, it's presentation. A lot of people, they're just, maybe when I was younger, I had more people. You know what I mean? Of course, I was still in my late 40s and looked halfway decent. I'm now 56 with gray hair and a gruff voice, and who the fuck wants to hear me? Nobody does. I don't do this for that. I do this because I want to warn people about, help people who have made the same mistakes that I have. Warn people. Maybe they help them not to make the same mistakes. And share with them what I've discovered to be the truth about things. So he goes, so I said this. So what's it like practicing black magic? I want to be sorcerer, follower of the Greek demigod Jesus. You're ignorant. You don't know what you're doing or saying. Tell me, genius, when did Jesus say his second coming would be? You better give me the right answer, or you'll be exposed for being the fraud that you are. And he doesn't give me the answer. He doesn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole because he doesn't know the Bible. I was on the fence for most of my life. I wasn't. Most of my life, I knew that Jesus was a joke. I saw it firsthand as I grew up a Mormon when I went on a Mormon mission. I left the Mormon mission. I had 2 months left on my mission. By the way, that was a big step to make. And some people say, oh, that's a sign of weakness. It was not. Because you want to tell you something. If I would have finished those 2 months and I would have went to Utah, you know what I mean? If I would have played along with what they were saying there in the mission there in North London, and I was a really good missionary, by the way, but I also was a really honest guy, and I started to find real problems with the Mormon Church, what's going on in the mission, that the agendas, how they were just literally just people. They just got off the boat from Africa, all of a sudden these white dudes, American accents with suit and ties, are like, hey, we know the meaning of life. They show up and they're, and then people are getting baptized left and right? And then most of them left the church after 6 months to a year when they finally realized they were a bit exploited and used. But it didn't matter because it's all about the numbers, you see. It's always been about the numbers. So I left the church. I left the church and my mission and everything. 2 months left my mission. I could have carried on. That's been a good, finishing my mission, going to out west, and it would have been one of those things. It would have been a feather in my cap, you know what I mean? It would have been one notch in my belt, you know what I mean? It would help me in life, Although I wish I rather would join the Air Force, to be honest with you. Even though I don't agree with the fact that, exploitation is just working for the corporate fascist West, you know what I mean? But you know what? Everything's corrupt. So when you're young, you're probably best off to go either learn a trade or go in the military and learn something before you even going to college. See if you can get that, help them pay for your student loans. That's an awful debt. The only reason I even got forgiven my student loan was because I ended up with MS and I couldn't work anymore. And they realized I couldn't work. And guess what they did? Of course, if I want to go back to school, they're going to make me pay for it again, right? So I can't go back to school. But yeah, they forgave me of the big debt. So it was getting worse and worse with interest too. I couldn't pay for anything. I lost everything thanks to that fucking MS. Anyways, I was on the fence for most of my life. One day, my dog, the most pure love I ever had the privilege of knowing, got sick. Long story short, I didn't have $1,200 to pay for the vet. I had maybe $50 in my pocket. I told the vet that I'd find it. I went home and asked God for help. A lady from Tucson called me a few minutes later. So this God's more interesting in saving this guy's dog than all those children. So apparently dogs are more important than children. Of course, God reversed backwards is dog, isn't it? So isn't it apropos that the dog, the big dog, decided to save the little dog, huh? The lady from Tucson called me a few minutes later and came and brought something I had been trying to sell for years. She paid $1,200 for the. Wow, that's amazing. And I imagine that's whatever you were trying to sell for years, you exploited somebody else in their desperate need, right? You got rid dirt cheap and turned around and made a profit of it. Hey, it's all business, though, right? It's no big deal. Christ never left. I'm sure he did. Of course, everyone contributes Jesus, but there's no evidence that Jesus did any of that. That Christ or whatever didn't. It was the one who intervened and made it happen. Maybe it was his own intent. Maybe it was his own prayers. Maybe there's other things involved in the whole thing. Maybe it was part of his life script. Who the fuck knows? He doesn't really know. He just wants to believe that. By the way, I'm having a lot of fun. I like this. Please keep it going. Be a skeptical person. You need to be. What? I need to be? But if you are looking for truth, you have to give it a try. Test it like I did. Well, fucking hell, what do you think I did? What do you think Jeff did? We did it every day for fucking years, jackass. It's always the same stupid fucking line and this presumptuous attitude that we didn't try. Fuck if we didn't try. Dude, I did everything right. I calling on Jesus constantly, talking to Jesus constantly. I spend years no talking to nobody else but Jesus. I'm not exaggerating. I live like a frickin' hermit for the name of Jesus. So I don't need to hear this crap. You didn't try hard enough. Fuck you. You got one thing, and that's what you hold on. It's one experience, and you convinced yourself that Jesus did, but there's no proof that Jesus did it. You know, it could have been circumstances. It could have been part of your life script. Maybe something else was paying attention to it. What about your own intent? You have no idea how it happened. I don't believe in organized religion. They're all corrupt. Well, I don't believe in it either. So if you throw, and by the way, this is Jesus' creation. So, and Jesus said we all be united in one, right? And we all do miracles and all that. Well, none of us are doing any of that. So that just proves that Jesus was lying, if he ever existed. But I know what I've experienced. God is in fact real. Well, there might be a God, but it ain't fucking Jesus. Or Allah, or Yahweh for that matter. And whatever that force is, it is too busy to fucking talk to you and I, or care about you and I, and it definitely doesn't give a shit about all those innocent children over in Israel right now. Innocent children being, literally treated like vermin, abused, and then unalived early in life, starving, dysentery, thank goodness for thank God for Yahweh and Jesus. There's always good things happen when Yahweh and Jesus show up, doesn't it? You know, for a small group of people at the top. But everyone else fucking has to suffer terribly in the name of Yahweh and Jesus. And by the way, the people at the top, they really don't believe in Yahweh and Jesus. They believe in something else. So it makes you should ask yourself,
Why did they give us, the peasants, Jesus? Oh, they really give a shit about you. I'm sorry. Sure, Jesus did beautiful things for a dirt bag for you, but not for all the innocent children suffering from terrible diseases and starving. I wonder why you are so special. And just refer to Craig, and you know what I mean? And your dog, you know what I mean? His dog, right? Why is he so special? But the innocent children. I wonder why you are so special, but the innocent children. Jesus has a liking for evil people. I guess you're one of his. Prove it. If your God is real, prove it. So there's another thing I challenged him. So there's two questions he won't answer. You never did answer my first question. I guess you have no clue what your Savior said. That makes sense. This is really fun, thanks. Yes, but the ones with the least enjoy the human experience the most. What? That's the most retarded, stupid, irrational, illogical thing I ever heard in my life. We signed up for our spiritual selves to have human experience. No, there's no proof in that. There's a lot of people who claim that, but I don't think so. I know I didn't. There's no way you can convince me that I did it. A lot of people will say otherwise, and they'll say the evidence is there, but they'll say, you know what? And they'll say, people then say, oh, but Jesus isn't real and God isn't real. Even though there's a lot of evidence on the other side. It says endless books and accounts, just like what Craig said, right? Of how Jesus or God influenced their life, right? They're just stories. They're claims. They can't be backed up any more than you can back up the fact that we signed up for something. You can't back it up. I'm sorry, words in a paper will not back it up. You see, you can't take a person like you seriously because you're full of it. You are so stupid. It's shocking how dumb you are. Keep making up shit. It's fantastic. This is me now. I'm really going off. You know what? I'm having fun doing it. You say, oh, this is terrible. Now, actually, I'm having fun doing this. You know, a year ago, I would have fought it. I would have not done it. But this time around, it's like, you know what? I've experienced so much fucking abuse from Christians. I don't give a shit if I call them a name or two. And they say, oh, yeah, it's whatever. I don't give a crap. I really don't care a crap. You are a real meathead, aren't you? You're like a mindless parrot. Squawk away. This is too much fun. And then, of course, he can't handle it because he can't think straight. So he starts sending this videos about RPL Vague A Hulk 24 portrait. I don't know what the hell that is. It's probably something. Then this man dies and learns we have it completely backwards. Okay. I mean, you probably, okay. Well, then you can't be a Christian. You can't follow Jesus. Dr. O.R.D. that NDLE is taken to heaven and shown the secrets. Oh, I'm sure it was him. And he had a special message. And a mission. And he came back down, right? You know, he didn't want to come back down because he had a special message. And that is to give hopium and false hope and lies. But because there's no way to prove any of this stuff. So it's wonderful that he came back. Hopefully, but as far as me supposed to believe this shit about near-death experiences? No. Did you give up? I said. I was having so much fun. Don't end the party. It was just getting started. Videos? Can't you think for yourself? Oh, man. You can do better than that. Wow. Like I haven't been studying NDEs and OBEs, OBE and the like. I just never thought of that before. Of course, he was paying attention to me. Well, very few of you. No, I have been doing that. In fact, we're just doing a reading, Waking Up the Matrix, which a big part is going to be about that. Then as a paramedic dies in a crash and shows that life goes on forever.
Well, I hope so, but I hope it's not with these people and with their God. I want some some freedom for once. I don't want any more tyranny. Oh, haven't you heard that? Oh, haven't you heard that before? Oh, I haven't heard that before. Okay. Anyways, a lot like trying to convince people that Bigfoot exists. They all say very similar stories. Do they? Actually, that's not the case when it comes to Bigfoot. The more and more you study it, it's quite diverse, the stories. Just like when it comes to the near-death experiences and the out-of-body experiences and the astral projecting. There is no universal thing. There's a few things, but for the most part, it seems to be, well, if there is anything universal, if you focused on Jesus, you're going to see Jesus on the other side. If you focus on Allah, you're going to see what you think is Allah, or whatever, or it's Moses, or whatever demigod or person or thing that you've been focusing on, right? And if it's true, they're going to take you right back into the light. Absolutely, I don't trust anybody on their side any more than I trust on this side. If I get on the other side, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. You allowed not only me to suffer for 56 years, you allowed billions upon billions upon billions of others before and now and in the future to suffer needlessly for no fucking good reason. And you did nothing about it except allow it to keep going on. I'm sorry. I'm going to get to the other side and I see, the blue people and everything else, right? And the ones that look like angels. I'm going to say, show yourself. I don't trust a fucking thing you say. I'm not following you. You put me through all this hell. You allowed it to happen. You did nothing about it. And you're going to try to make me feel guilty about the stupidest fucking things while the rest of you, your hands are so fucking dirty with all the corruption. And just imagine on the other side, them watching us as people are suffering. Some child right now is being abused. Someone's getting, unalived. Someone's going through all these terrible things. And they just sit back and go, but no, the once in a while, what they do, to intervene with that person or some other person, right? And they always have this special message and mission to come back and say, there's life after death, right? I still believe there's life after death. It's a belief. It's not a knowing. There's no way to know. There's no way to know. And I certainly, just because I believe there's life after death, if there's somebody's next to me, like Jeff, who's changed and gone full atheist, and he doesn't believe in God or life after death, I don't blame him for thinking that way. Because I can't prove to him, even with all the, reincarnation stories and all the stuff about these children coming back and their weird birthmarks and wounds that they had from supposedly previous lives. And you know what? We have no idea what's causing any of that. We don't know if it's these entities, the archonic forces, that are messing with them. You know what I mean? And a lot of times those kids, they bring up that stuff and they forget it as they get older. Isn't that interesting? Like it wasn't as real as we like to think it is. So I say here, come on, baby, feed the fire. It says, if you listen to them, you'll see if they believe. I don't care if they believe. I'll listen to them anyways. I'm probably going to listen to them and criticize them in really terrible parts. What I'm going to do, and make videos out of it. So I told him, so thank you. He's giving me ammunition for something to focus on. So come on, baby, feed the fire. I'm sure they saw what they believe, the egregore Jesus, just like the Jews see Moses and the Muslims see Allah. Then they're made to come back to this shithole and told they have a special mission, a mission to push the lies of the Matrix. Real inspiring. I can smell the loosh. Okay, he says, in just a few years' time, we will die. Be ready. I like, how many times I've almost died people due to the MS over the course of the years? By myself, with no one fucking being there. And, the last time I did that was 10 years ago. I learned real early. and last time that I went to the hospital because of it, that they were not going to help me. They were literally, it's more like being tormented. So when I have those bouts, and literally, there are days when I feel like I can barely even move my legs, move my body. I mean, it feels like there's 1,000 needles going through me. And there's like, one of the reasons I still do this is it's not because I want a following. And I talk out loud and do this stuff and do these videos is to be around for my son. This keeps me alive, keeps me going. Because one of the things I discovered too about life, including family and friends of the past, at least I thought they were family and friends, is once you have MS and you're in this situation, people don't want nothing to do with you. None of them. They all threw me under the bus. Why? Because one of the things is, I think, the guilt, and B, the other thing is maybe they think they're worried about maybe me asking them for money, for help. Which, by the way, I did do that for my sister a few years ago, maybe 2020, 19 or something like that, for $50. It's such a big ordeal. By the way, she just lives 2 blocks away from me now. They just spent $350 restoring a house that I'll never be in. And she's too good to come to my humble place. Literally, too good to even show up. So anyways, we got this other thing. Watch it, dumb shit. So we got this paramedic, and like, yeah, okay. Like, you've never seen that video before. No shit, Sherlock. I can't wait for my sentence here to end. I have no fear of that. But you should be shaking in your boots if you only knew what's really awaits you on the other side. You are far from being ready. I'm just fucking with them at this point. I mean, I do believe that that's what's going on, but emphasize believe that we're going to be intercepted. We're going to be greeted by entities that are going to pretend to be our loved ones or parents, whatever, your God, a dog, whatever, or just, helpers, guides, whatever. And I'm just going to say, fuck you. That's what I'm going to say. You know what? I've had enough of this horseshit. This game is bullshit. I don't care if you're God himself. Somebody has to be held accountable for all this stuff. It can't be me. It can't be you. We're limited in the meat suit that we're in. We're limited in our own abilities, on our ability to even correctly think and to process things, our ability to even fend for ourselves. And we live in a fucking matrix that's awful. And a meat suit that's the most worst designed meat suit you could ever design for this place. Unless you're meant to be doing something other than being part of this place. Like maybe destroying this place, or exploiting this place. Or the meat suit's more designed to be a slave to something. Why should I watch anything that you offer up? You can't even answer any of my questions. But you do know how to be a judgmental dick, so I will play along with that. That's why I'm being a real jerk about it. It takes a lot for me to be a jerk back. You have to really be pushing my buttons. And this guy's been doing it forever and a day. Three people who came back from the dead. Hallelujah. There's never enough time to learn. You don't know shit. You learn nothing. You heard something that feeds your cognitive dissonance and your what you want this world to be. But I'm sorry, folks. People lie constantly. People lie constantly. And it's a real struggle. Every one of us is a real struggle to try not to lie. Not to, by the way, exaggerating is lying. And there's a good chance that everything that they experienced either was false memories that was either put into them from the things on the other side, or they created up they conjured up something themselves. Right? There's no way to prove that these. And when you start saying that Jesus on the other side, when after everything I know about the real Jesus, I don't want nothing to do with that thing. Fuck no, I don't. And you know what? It's always going to be some fake image. Who knows what the age was? Is he black? Is he white? Does he look like the grandson of a pope? Was he the gay lover of the painter? I mean, what the fuck was he? What did he look like? Did he have a big Jewish nose or what? I mean, fuck, nobody knows, because it doesn't matter, because it's not real. It's an egregore. We created it. We brought it into existence. Well, the Roman Empire forced it on everyone, and then through brainwashing and indoctrination, we believe it. Until we challenged it, and they leave the keys in the book, by the way. And if you study those collection of books, there ain't no way you're going to believe in Christianity, Judaism, or Mohammedanism. You're not going to believe in Jesus. You're not going to believe in their God, and you're not going to believe in their religion. But this is how organized crime works, right? Just think about this. Say you're a gangster. You got a gang. What's the glue that keeps them together? It's the secrets they keep. It's the knowledge that they have, that they keep from everyone else. And as long as they keep it to themselves and don't reveal the truth about what's really going on, they get away with murder, literally, and exploitation. And that's exactly what Christianity's always been about. See, now if you study those collection of books, those 66 books, which, by the way, also, exclamation point, it reminds you that, those know what's going on. 66 AD is when the beginning of the war there, Jerusalem, right? Which finally was, what happened was that Titus showed up, son of Vespasian, and who became the emperor, and they finished the job. It's all about the destruction. Literally, the whole Testament is about the destruction and judgment of Jerusalem. It is literally, and I've been saying that forever, and I'm glad to see that Jeff's been saying it for a while now too, because he's better at communicating it, is that it's propaganda. It's Roman propaganda of a time when they were at war with the Jews, and it worked so goddamn well they kept it. But people have refused to know the truth, and many of you would just not want to hear me, not want to hear the truth. Well, get really pissed off. But some of you will come back. You'll start thinking about what's being said, and you'll start asking questions. And some of you are going to realize that I really am making my amends. And this time, I'm telling you the closest thing to the truth that there is right now, when it comes to this thing called Jesus and Christianity. It is black magic. It's all about lying. Lying for your truth. Just make up shit, justify it, rationalize it, reinforce it, lie to each other, convince everybody that Jesus doing something. How do you know? That's perfect. Actually, it's scapegoating. That's what they do, right? They get you focused on a entity, a being, whether it's the President of the United States, or it's Yahweh, or it's Jesus, or it's Satan. It's always one entity, right? We just don't focus on the collective, the horde of fucking things all around us that I'm filming, that you can film too now. We have decent cameras, and I could show you real fast how to do it, and you don't need to be a genius to figure this out. You just fucking have to start filming the goddamn trees, and you're going to start filming fucking things, in the sky. And once in a while, you're going to realize that it's not you're going to have to distinguish between pareidolia, but at some point, you're going to say, oh my God, that's not pareidolia. There actually are fucking entities that surround us, that somehow our naked eyes can't see, but our cameras can. Yeah, this is one reason why my show is so small. They don't want you to know about that. They really don't want you to know about that, because if you start doing what I'm doing, it's going to really make you question just about everything. If you had experienced Bigfoot, you're into Bigfoot cryptozoology or the paranormal or UFOs and all that, you're going to like, what the fuck's really going on? Any of those who have done any serious time investigating into those areas come away with this pretty similar conclusions, unless they're getting paid off to keep their mouth shut and keep the agenda going, right? To keep people in the Hegelian dialectic, the left-right paradigm, right? Yeah. Is it flesh or is it flesh and blood, or there's woo? Well, it turns out it's something even much more fucking bizarre. They've known about this for a long time. So anyways, if you want to know, and so then we got to ask yourself the serious question, what is the spirit realm and what are these things? And I'm not taking anything from anybody. I don't give a fuck what book it comes from. I don't care if it's, the Akashic Records. It comes from, the Egyptians, the Samaritans, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims. I don't give a fuck who it is. If it's connected to any religion or empire, I guarantee you it ain't going to be telling the truth. Because those religions and empires, the reason why they're there still is because they serve the Matrix. So I says this, what is this? There's never enough time to learn what has happened to you that you went to the dark. Why am I in the dark? I actually feel like I'm more honest and more in the light than I ever have been. Are you mad at the life you have? Yeah, that's a good thing. But I'm more mad at the other people I know. I still have empathy and compassion. It's one of those things you might need to work on, bro. And the rest of you to hear this. And maybe you need to work on it too. Maybe you ought to start thinking about the other person. I know a lot of people are suffering. They're suffering worse than me. And there's no justice. There's no answer to it. Or they're exploited by the M system that you're not allowed to talk about, right? Because that pyramidal system that's supposed to be there for your benefit, with that H word that you're not allowed to say either. Because it's all fucking censorship, because that's all part of it, right? But the fact of the matter is, this M system, with this, that's supposed to be about our H, is really a giant eugenics program that's also used to exploit people. So instead of healing, let's just maintain it. There's money to be made. At least we're not killing them. Yet. Until you get into their N homes. You can't say that word now without getting flagged for every damn fucking thing there is. Anyways, just for you, I say, I'm going to try posting something on my channels every day exposing the lies of Christians and their evil religion. Thanks for your motivation. You should have been one of those motivational coaches. You have a real knack for it. If you want to believe in Christ, if you want to believe Christ was here or not, is up to you. The fact remains that we have a creator. Blah, 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 blah. So why did you go and attack? I make it very clear in those videos that I don't agree about Jeff when it comes to the spirit realm. So what? And if he wants to belittle me, then that's his issue. If he does. Just like it is your issue, Craig. Now listen. I've seen things, experienced things, and I know things. And I'm not going to, it is what it is, man. This is where I'm at. I'm not going to back down just to make somebody happy. I said, wow, you're really clever chap, aren't you? Of course you don't read very well, but we can't all be perfect now, can we? What happened to you, he says. See, he's used to just attacking me and me doing nothing, right? He thought he could be a bully and get away with this shit, right? But this time around, I bit back at him, right? Yes, we can all be perfect if we try. No, we can't. You cannot. There's no such thing as perfection in this world. It's only the illusion of it. Also, free will is an illusion in its own right. Epigenetics, and where you're born, who your parents were, that makes a big deal. Yes, it makes a big deal where you're going to go, what you look like, what kind of life you're going to have. You know what? The only thing that might be of close to free will is if you're going to buy into the lies or not. But it takes a lot of work to not to. And there's always more waiting, because this place is nothing but lies. It looks like I won. Well, for one thing, after hanging out with people like you, I realized you are all liars. This is me talking to Craig, and I'm talking to all you Christians out there, full of delusional stinkers instead of saying shit. You have to lie for your truth at all costs because you can't afford to be exposed. Your life is a fictional life. You live a fictional life. You're a fraud. But don't let anyone stuff to know about it. Let's keep it a secret. Let's hide behind Jesus so no one figures us out. Craig Corbell, the BS artist, pretends to follow Jesus even though Corbell doesn't have a clue what Jesus said or stood for. And by the way, Jesus did not say he came for, there's a Prince of Peace. He came here the sword to divide. He didn't come here to bring peace. He said you couldn't even be his follower unless you had to hate your own parents, your own siblings, your own self if you want to follow him. What kind of a God is that? There's no more. You ever hung around monks? The delusional will think that they're the most moral, most pious people. I guarantee you, I can get them cracked, and I can get them break within about 5 minutes from that fake facade they have. So Corbell doesn't have a clue what Jesus said or stood. That's what happened. I figured out people like you. Thank you for being a part of my a part of setting me free from the lie called Christianity and that demon Jesus. You ought to sometime. You ought to try it sometime, this one. Get distracted, and then my dyslexia gets away. Been busy, fucker. Unlike you, I have a life. Be a loser. Die a loser. So this is what the Christian love is. By the way, I can go back, and I can go back to the last year and where I didn't respond this way. I just let him abuse the fuck out of me. But this time around, it will take both of your hands, but reach down between your legs and pull hard. Your head might come out of your ass. So this is the great Christian, right? And I knew I'd bait him. That's why I did it. I baited him. I said, you know what? I'm just going to do what he does to me and see what happens. Busy judging people, taking advantage of their misfortunes. I'm talking about Craig, that's what he does. And desperation, stealing from them. Of course, that's just business. Jesus will overlook all that. Will look over that after all. He made this place. You are a real piece of scum. You need a Jesus to justify your nastiness. What's it like taking advantage of others? Do you do it in the name of Jesus? And he does do that. He's one of those guys that's pariah. He takes advantage of people's misfortunes. It's just business, right? Jesus must be proud of you. And so he does this. Is this the pocket of a desperate person? And he's showing me all these bills of hundreds and $100 bills. This is a Christian, right? He's showing off his fucking money. And his love of his life, his dog. Better yet, I have her. Good job, you have a dog. The poor thing has to live with you. I feel sorry for it. You can't even keep a turtle alive. Well, dumbass, there's a bird right behind me that I've had for 7 years. We got gerbils. We've had all sorts of things. And I have a 12-and-a-half-year-old son that I take care of, make sure he's fed and has a warm place and a safe place to go. That's far different, Mr. Corbell, than a fucking chihuahua. I can't keep a turtle fucking alive. What a that's why, you know what? That's why I don't like Christians anymore. At least if you're not a Christian and you're just an asshole, just because you're just an asshole, at least I can deal with that. At least you're being truly honest about who you are. You're not putting some facade, some fake picture to pretend to be something you're not, like Christian, you know what I mean? Don't you have a Satan worship video to make for 3 people? The funny thing is, if you are a Christian, a little secret, that's what you're doing. Because Christianity and Satanism are just 2 sides of the same coin. It's like Judo-Christianity. And if you add in the Mohammedanism, that's all it is. Just dark magic. My favorite. It's crazy. So, you're desperate. Most likely after all you have to hide behind your Greek demigod when exploiting others, when they're down and out. Anybody that behaves like you has to be desperate. That's what I say to him. Then he calls me. He let it ring for 50 fucking times, right? I didn't answer it. And the reason I didn't answer it, I was taking a pee. So then he finally hangs and calls me a pussy. Shut up. I don't speak to idiots. That's what he says. It's just, I swear to God, I mean, I did nothing to this guy. I really did nothing to this guy. This is what I say to him. Call me back if you want to talk. I was peeing. If that's all right with you, well, thank you for, thank you. That must mean you think I'm pretty smart to call me, right? So that's it. And he hung up in his desperation, in his idiocracy, his idiocy. Well, anyways, I know it's been a long rant, and it's been an hour and 17 minutes of this, but it's really important. By the way, this is my new Facebook page. That is the it's Loosh Farm, and they got the YouTube channel, Loosh Farm. So if you think about subscribing to that, because eventually I'm going to start splitting the things up. This Loosh Farm only has, just started a couple of days ago, only has 8 subs. And that's where he gets that from. I only have 8 subs. He doesn't realize I have BitChute channel has 1,300 and 2 YouTube channels that each has like 500 basically. And then Rumble channel that only has 31. Rumble's just incredibly terrible for me to break through. And I have to pay $10 a month for this shit. Anyways, here's the thing. Whether I'm popular or not, that's never been the issue. There's multiple reasons why I do this. A, it's good for me and my health. Oh, by the way, this video that I was talking about, the dead birds, that's 1963 documenting dead birds. I hope to post it if there's no copyright thing. But if not, you can watch that, and you'll see what I was talking about with the cameraman and MT Paranormal Life Mike. I was bringing this up about how the night, they believe that the spirits ruled the night, like all the rest of our ancestors did. So, anyways, it is what it is. And I'm going to be posting on a daily basis stuff that if I have the time, of what my friend, the very first signed copy was mine from him. I don't know if he'll always will be my friend. Who knows? The way life is in this Loosh Farm, something will happen. But it's not intentional. I know it won't ever be on my end. I don't care if he agrees to me about the spirit realm. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care if he believes in God. The only thing I care about is that we be honest about what that fucking book says and where it came from. That collection of books called the Bible. Because both of us pushed Jesus, and now that we know the truth, it's our responsibility, one way or another, to share that truth with others. Even if we have to swallow crow for the rest of our lives, and admit that we're stupid enough and naive enough or gullible enough to believe in this shit. Anyways, so there's that. So I'm going to pause. I think I'll post this today, in fact, while I got the fire going in me. Christianity is pure fucking evil.